Race 2 of the weekend for the Lamborghini Super Trofeo North America is about to get underway. Welcome to Misano, welcome to the final round of the championship. And in a sense, lots of drivers are coming into this with the pressure off, because earlier on in the day, the four class titles were sewn up. Richard Antonucci won Pro. Brandon Gledovich and Brian Ortiz confirmed as the Pro-Am winners. Luke Barkley is the title holder now in Am, and in Lamborghini Cup, Mark Farmer and Terry Olsen cannot be caught. David Addison trackside, Marietta Evans down on the grid, and we'll hear from one or two of the drivers before we go racing for our final 50-minute race of the season. If you follow Lamborghini Super Trofeo, you'll know the plot. Mandatory pit stops, and the time spent in the pits differs as to whether you are a solo entry or indeed whether you have two drivers. And the grid, just looking down onto it, looks as though it has lost a car from the qualifying session yesterday, and so we'll come to that as we have a look at it in more detail. Loris Spinelli, the man that starts on pole position with a Pro-Am win under his belt already today. That came in the opening race when he and his co-driver Claude Senhoretti had honours for the first time this year. And it's going to be Richard Antonucci lining up alongside. The second row of the grid, Jacob Eidson starts, and he will line up alongside Danny Formal. The third row of the grid is the car of Dario Capitanio that had a puncture and possibly a mechanical breakage, pitching it into a spin in the first race. Certainly the puncture was there. And lining up alongside was going to be Max Wearing, but his is the car that's missing from the grid. Now, I was speculating in the course of the earlier race as to whether or not he was going to do this, but the car is certainly missing. There's a gap on that row. Let's go down to the grid. Luke Barkley celebrated in style by winning the Am Championship. First year of racing as well this year, and he's with Marietta Evans.
Big chat with the champion in Super Trofeo America. Look, how are you approaching race 2 now that the title is already in the bag?
I just want to push a little bit harder and try to stay with the pros a little bit longer than last time, and overall just keep the car safe, keep myself ready for World Finals tomorrow, and just enjoy. It's been an awesome year, and I look forward to these races, and just keep going. It was a strong year, and I want to finish it off strong as well. Hopefully win this race in M class and cruise with the pros up front.
Thank you very much. Good luck.
Thank you.
151, that's the pole position car. That is Loris Spinelli, who will start, and then Claude Senhoretti will do the second stint. Loris Spinelli very nearly had an outright win earlier on in the day because he dominated his stint with Max Wearing in the European race, and then Max had a puncture with only about 5 minutes to go and fell down the order to 7th in class. So Loris Spinelli being wished well by the team, switching from championship car to car, team to team, and he will, in this race, drive for the MCR racing team. As I say, there looked to be a gap on the grid around about the third row, which makes me wonder whether Dario Capitanio's car is there as well, which had, as I say, a puncture in the earlier race, but the fact that it was pitched into a spin did make it look as though there was something a bit more sinister. 116 you can just see in the background there, Stephen McAleer's car, the Bud Light car, that had a fuel pump fail when Jeroen Mill was at the wheel of it. Look down onto the grid, there is definitely a gap on the inside of row 3. Fifth on the grid should have been Dario Capitanio, and that car ain't there. So we've lost Max Wearing. Everybody moved up one space, and then there's another hole anyway. So clearly it was more than just a puncture, in fairness to Dario Capitanio from earlier on in the day. And whatever that is, they've not been able to sort it for race 2. It's a rolling start, and so the cars very shortly will be released onto the parade lap. The Lamborghini Urus as the leading car. We have the Huracan positioned at turn 2 as the safety car, should it be needed. It was needed twice in the first race. As I say, we've had champions decided. There's still seconds and thirds up for grabs, but in many ways we can put the calculator aside and just enjoy this as one really spectacular race. The great thing about the World Final weekend, especially for the American Championship and under non-COVID times, the Asian Championship as well, which is currently having a furlough, is that the European circuits they barely know, and however much testing they do, it's still a real step into the unknown for many of them. So the leading car gets away. The grid will be released in a moment. Daniele Gagliati, the race director, gives the indication that now Loris Spinelli, with that Italian tricolore colour scheme on the car, can accelerate away. And it is up to Loris Spinelli then to control the field, to get the warmth into the Pirelli rubber on this lap. The medical car at the back, should it be needed on the first lap of the race. We lost Alan Metney, the AM driver on the opening lap of the first race, and Ashton Harrison's car had a puncture as well, so it was quite a frantic first lap. But as I say, it's a shame that we've lost a couple of cars. Max Wearing, I suspect, is concentrating now on the European Championship, which he can win. Hence, he's going to stand down from this. And there is number 108, which is the car of Mel Johnson. He will go first in this race, and that car starting at the rear of the grid. So this is how they line up then, with on pole position number 151 of Loris Spinelli, and alongside is Richard Antonucci. The second row of the grid, Jacob Idson goes first, and Danny Formal, the Puerto Rican driver rather, goes first in 101 for Wayne Taylor Racing. The third row of the grid, there's a gap where we don't have Dario Capitano, but we do have the repaired car of Stephen McAleer, the Change Racing entry. Row 4, new AM champ Luke Barclay is on the inside, and new Pro-Am champ Brian Ortiz is on the outside. The fifth row of the grid, Alan Metney hoping for better fortunes this time, and also there is Jordan Missig for Wayne Taylor Racing. On the next row of the grid, Ashton Harrison hoping that that car can keep all four tyres inflated. Victor Gomez lines up alongside, ahead of Bart Collins from the Lamborghini Cup, and Randy Solari from the AM competition alongside. And then we have John Hennessy, class winner earlier on in the day, lining up alongside the new Lamborghini Cup champ Terry Olsen. The back of the grid, John Hirschberg, and then 108 of Mel Johnson. That is how the grid is then, as we get set to go racing for our final 50-minute event of the year. So the cars coming then up now to the approach to the last couple of corners on the lap. There is the Caro right-hander, and then the run left and left again towards the curve of Misano. And the European race particularly, and slightly hotter conditions than the first North American round of the day, had a spate of late race punctures. Now it's hard to gauge a proper answer out of people, whether that was because they were abusing curbs or whether it was a tyre pressure problem, but either way, I'm sure the American teams will have been watching that and factoring that into their preparations for this race, which is the last of the championship. Loris Spinelli versus Richard Antonucci will be quite a battle, I would have thought, for the first stint here. And Loris Spinelli lining up on pole position. There's one car there in the pit lane as well, so somebody has bailed from the grid and he's coming down the pit road. Keep an eye to that as the race then is about to get underway now, and it is Loris Spinelli then who accelerates clear of the pack as they dive down towards the first corner. Richard Antonucci goes second, and then third Jacob Idson, who chased him to the end of the first race, and the car that's in the pits is Capitano. So Dario Capitano's car has got going, and it's about to join in late from the pit lane. It's just gone past my window, so Capitano will be in with a fight on his hands as Spinelli leads the way. But Richard Antonucci is under real pressure from Jacob Idson. The Australian-American is right there on his tail, and that's another one that's in strife as well. 129 in the pit road, so that was the car that appeared at the end of the formation lap going down the pit road, that being Victor Gomez's car. So that in strife, but as I say, from the pits into the race is Dario Capitano, and his progress is going to be worth watching. So Gomez hopefully can get going, but that car as yet barely moving. 199, Alan Metney, bit of smoke out of the back. Is that contact? Is that giving it some damage? Possibly. That was a car that was in strife in the first race. So Spinelli just jinks around left and right a little bit to try and get some warmth into the rubber. The leading group goes now through Retilegno. There is the man that won the Lamborghini Cup earlier on in the day, and that is John Hennessy. And there is Victor Gomez's car, clearly with a problem. So Gomez, I think, has technically started the race. He's just crossed the line as a spin there. Now, who's that we've lost? That looks like Jordan Missig's car to me, and I think it is. Missing as he turns it around and gets going again. So quite a few of them in the wars on the opening lap of the race. It is Missig. He's back running as the leaders go through them. So Spinelli leading Antonucci by nearly a second at the end of lap one. There he is. There's Loris Spinelli, but look at second and third. Richard Antonucci versus Jacob Idson. Now, Jacob and Stephen Agakani have had a win this year and are taking the fight very definitely to the pro champion here. Fourth, Danny Formal. Fifth there, Stephen McAleer. And behind him, sixth, Luke Barclay. So the new AM champion going after the pros, and he's staying with them. This is mighty impressive. Alan Metney badly delayed, but he's lost a place already to Dario Capitano at the back of the field. Capitano is in 16th place, trying to play catch-up as the leaders there go through Quetchia. And look at the way that Spinelli has checked out already. He's gone. Pulling well clear then as the field accelerates up now towards the top of the lap, and another spinner getting it going again in the right direction. That is Bart Collins in 104 who's gone around. So Bart Collins rejoins the MCR racing car that he shares with Michael Manella back into the fray, but delayed. It was 15th anyway. Another from the Lamborghini Cup here. To the right of the timing tower, the little colour codes telling you which class they're in. So Loris Spinelli, the blue is Pro-Am, the Pros are behind, the Ams are yellow, and the Lamborghini Cup represented in green. And that is Alan Metni, whose day is getting no better. We lost him on the first lap of the first race, and he's back in the pits now. And there, look, goes straight on, as though something had seized in the car, putting him into the gravel. But Alan Metni off the road. We'd seen him with a bit of smoke anyway on the opening lap of the race. There was also that as well. So poor old Alan Metni having a rotten trip to Italy right now. 104 goes through. That's Bart Collins with now Dario Capitano, who used to race in Europe in his single-seater days and European Le Mans days, catching up as well. Capitano sharing with Oida Liberati, which will be another car to watch in the second stint as it hunts through the pack. Antonucci there goes through turn 3. The Rio right-hander loop in second spot. Getting away, I would offer you now, from this man, Jacob Eidson, who's just falling away slightly in that third place. So Loris Spinelli led at the end of lap 2 by 1.9 seconds. And now the third lap of the race continues to get away. He's had the fastest lap in each race he's done so far, the American and the European rounds earlier on in the day. So there's quite a record building up here for Loris Spinelli. Multiple champion, whether it's been in Europe, in America, or indeed in the World Final. He has been one of the strongest Lamborghini Super Trofeo racers in recent years. Richard Antonucci, who's concentrated largely on the American series as well as the World Finals. Great pace that he's got, and he's another solo entry as he runs it a little bit wide over the curb there. Behind him is Eidson, behind in fourth place is Danny Formal. And Danny too is somebody that could well be worth watching in this as he tries now to hustle on. The Costa Rican driver is there in fourth place. The leaders come up towards the end of the lap then. Loris Spinelli goes through, getting away all the while here from Antonucci. Loris Spinelli, a man in demand, because even if he can't put together a drive for himself, there are lots of AMs that want him in their car to be quick pro-AMs and challenge for outright honours. You can also learn from him, that is for sure. Leaders go through then. 2.2 seconds now is the margin as we start lap 4. Second wave of cars coming through here, headed by Randy Solari. John Hennessy is behind him, and then Terry Olsen has lost out now because the recovering Jordan Missick is having a go, and there up the inside line goes Jordan Missick, so he goes through. Missick gets ahead of Hennessy. On board now with Terry Olsen. So the Lamborghini Cup entry being passed by the recovering Pro-Am entry of Jordan Missick, and there is 147. Going wide, Terry Olsen, new Lamborghini Cup champion, but he's given away another place there. So through on the inside line, up and past him has gone Mel Johnson up from the back of the grid in the spare car. They had problems yesterday with damage to the race car. He and Patrick Liddy persuaded the organisers to let them have a spare, which was granted as long as they started at the back of each grid. And then the power steering broke in the first race, but it looks as though it's going okay now. And Mel Johnson doing a decent job, and so too should Patrick Liddy, who we know is another rapid driver when he gets in for the second stint. Right now, Loris Spinelli is getting away. Charging clear, 2.2 seconds last time was the margin. There over the line goes the Lamborghini Palm Beach entry, and 3 seconds now is the cushion that he's got over Richard Antonucci. With in third place Jacob Eidson, gap back for Danny Formal. Here's 5th and 6th together. So it is Stephen McAleer just ahead of Luke Barkley. Luke, another of the young guns that the American Championship has a habit of finding. A couple of years ago, well, final weekend, it was Stephen Agakani that grabbed everybody's attention. Luke Barkley has done it already this weekend. First year of car racing, and what a season he's had. He's the class champion, and he's on the back of Stephen McAleer that runs in the pro class. Partnered by Jeroen Mull this weekend. Did have Madison Snow at the start of the year, but right now, going nicely with the repaired fuel pump. Stephen McAleer, forgive me, in 5th place. So Stephen McAleer, the Scot based in America these days. Luke Barkley up behind him. Together they run. McAleer under attack, and Luke Barkley again just edging out of the draft there, looking to try and tighten the line, which he does, going up through the right-hander, and he's alongside now. Look, as they blast out of Tramonto, but he can't quite stay alongside. So Stephen McAleer has the advantage, but only just. And something has happened somewhere to Loris Spinelli, because on the timing screen, he suddenly dropped down the order. So look back. Is it a timing glitch, or have we lost the race leader? At the moment, you're looking at this fight going on between McAleer and Barkley, but Loris Spinelli is plunging down the order on the timing screen. So up over the timing line, the first car that shows is now Richard Antonucci, with in second place Jacob Eidson, and 0.6 of a second is the margin between them. In third place now is Danny Formal, but somewhere around the circuit, Loris Spinelli has hit problems. So 151, Loris Spinelli no longer the leader. Is he still circulating, or what has happened? He's into the pit lane, that's what's happened. So there, Loris Spinelli, who was the race leader by some margin, into the pit lane. Marietta, turn around and run, because there's a car that's in, it was the leader with a problem. So Loris Spinelli was the race leader, he's in the pit lane. There are other cars, other drivers in strife as well. Victor Gomez's car there with a problem. And here, in replay, this is on board with McAleer, there is Spinelli, who almost gets collected by Stephen McAleer because the car has suddenly slowed right down. So Stephen avoids him, but Spinelli with a problem. Right, let's go to the pit lane. Marietta.
Eduardo, your car had to start from the pit for race 2. Can you give us more information of why that happened?
Yeah, so they found some damages from the previous crash in race 1. So it was very tight between race 1 and race 2. There was only like 2 hours, so they couldn't do it on time, and we had to start from the pit. So now we're far back, but we keep pushing.
What caused the incident in race 1? What was that, a puncture?
No, it was just a misunderstanding with an overlapped car, and then the puncture was a consequence of that.
Thank you very much. Good luck.
So that's the Dario Capitano car that's being referred to by Eduardo Liberati that will do the second stint. Now, you've seen Loris Spinelli rejoin the race, so whatever it was that he felt was the problem, they look like they've sorted it and they've sent him back out again, so the plot thickens a bit there. But Capitano in 13th spot right now, and that's the leader, Richard Antonucci, inheriting the race lead. But the Loris Spinelli situation we'll try and get to the bottom of, because that was, as I say, the leading car that had slowed right down, almost like it had gone into limp home mode. But Loris Spinelli presses on. He'd done the fastest lap of the race, but I don't think a class win is going to go their way here. Now, for the race lead, Antonucci versus Jacob Eidson, and they're almost together, look, as they round the left-hander of Quechia up towards Tramonto now. So there, the Bitbull car, Richard Antonucci at the wheel of it, leads the way, and Jacob Eidson doing exactly what he did in the first race, shadowing Richard's every move. Now, remember that within the championship, you can have 2 driver entries or singletons. Richard Antonucci is a soloist, so the car will have this pace all day long, effectively, but he has a slightly longer pit stop of 3 seconds to compensate for the advantage that solo drivers have in the second stint, because they know what the car feels like and the track feels like. Whereas Stephen Agakani will replace Jacob Eidson, and he'll have a lap or so of getting up to speed. So through the approach to the curve of Misano, they come out of Cairo now. Left, short straight, left again. There's John Hennessy, who is again leading in the Lamborghini Cup. So looking for a 5th win of the season if he can hang on in that. And Hennessy getting himself closer to another stalwart of Lamborghini Super Trofeo, Randy Solari, who was the Lamborghini Cup champion last year, moving up to the AM class this year, Randy Solari. So John Hennessy accelerates through, and 10th overall in the very distinctive gold and blue colours that the US Racetronics entry carries. And John Hennessy well clear at the moment of Terry Olsen and then John Hirschberg within the Lamborghini Cup battle that's going on track. The pit window will be open in about 8 minutes' time, so of course everybody has to make a mandatory stop. And that means that Spinelli has to come back in. And there is Dario Capitano now, who's got himself onto the back of Hennessy. Capitano's last lap was very nearly 3 seconds quicker. So there's a pro getting past a Lamborghini Cup entry and storming away. And in fairness to John Hennessy, he saw him coming, got out of the way, realised that wasn't a battle that was worth fighting. They're in different classes, makes no odds to his class outcome, whether he lets him go or not. So Dario Capitano released, goes through. And into the race late has just gone Victor Gomez. So he effectively started by limping into the pit lane, but he's just joined in 5 laps down. So all he can do now is try and get the fastest lap in his class, and I suppose gain track time in anticipation of the World Final for the rest of the weekend. They get a race each day here at Misano, and it's split so that the pros and pro-ams race against each other, and the AMs and the Lamborghini Cup drivers get their races rather than being overshadowed potentially. So through goes the race leader Richard Antonucci. In replay you can see how the cars work as they use the curb, how the suspension works, and Richard Antonucci with the beautifully stable Dream Racing Motorsport entry. He hangs on to the race lead, and 0.4 of a second. He's not exactly storming away though, is he, in that Lamborghini Las Vegas entry? All the American Championship cars have a dealer attached to them. Bit of fluid coming out of the back of the car, but I don't think that's hugely worrying to the officials. But what is happening, and it might be a worry to Antonucci, is that Jacob Eidson won't go away, and he's staying on the back of him. So now Richard Antonucci having a really tough time. We're about 6.5 minutes away from the window opening, and Antonucci is feeling the pressure now because Jacob Eidson is right there behind the champion. They've already had a win this year, Jacob Eidson and Stephen Agacani, when they were victorious at Watkins Glen, but could one come on Italian soil? Jacob Eidson presses on then. Battle for the race lead. It's opened up a little bit, coming down through Cavone. That right-hand kink at Rettilenio. But Antonucci to Eidson, yeah, half a second. It's fluctuating sector to sector to sector here. Up towards the end of the lap they come. Antonucci leading the way then. Second is Eidson. Danny Formal in third place has dropped back a little bit. In fourth still, Stephen McAleer, who in turn now is getting away from Luke Barkley. The leaders come up towards the end of lap 9. Antonucci goes through, breaks the beam, and 0.541 of a second is the margin as he goes through. And again, under braking, look, Jacob Eidson is able to bring that gap down. Certain parts of the circuit, the gap grows, other parts it comes down. So there, 127, Richard Antonucci, the race leader, but as I say, he's under attack, very definite under attack now. Let's find out more about Loris Spinelli's problems. Marietta has news. Marietta.
Claudine, Loris had to come to the pit when he was leading the race. Tell us what happened.
I didn't understand. I couldn't.
He had to come, Loris had to come into the pit when he was leading the race with the car that you share. Tell us what happened.
Well, unfortunately, we're leading the race already about 5 seconds of the Pro AM second place. And one of our wheels got loose. So the wheels getting loose, he couldn't keep up the car. He thought it was a flat tire, so he brought the car back, and just the wheel was loose. So we were able to tie it up, and he went back. But we're a minute behind now. But we're gonna fight it to the end.
That's the right attitude, that's the spirit. That's the right attitude and the right spirit. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you very much. Thank you, guys. Enjoy.
Interesting, that loose wheel, because in the European race, we had Kevin Geladoni's car midway through the opening stint lose a wheel, and the obvious thought is something's broken to do that, but maybe it's a bigger issue. Go back to the early 1980s, certain German manufacturers' Group C cars used to have this habit of, if temperatures dropped, the wheel nut would unscrew, loosen itself, and Porsche 962s had a habit of becoming 3-wheelers, but first time I think we've heard of it happening in Lamborghinis, but wheels coming loose during the stint is well, one is rare, two starts to make you investigate further, doesn't it? And Loris Spinelli, the race leader, as his co-driver, has just been telling us there, Claude Senhoretti, now about a minute back, and is running in 16th place, so there's a lot of work to do, but they are on the lead lap, which at least is the good news. There's the AM champ and the AM leader, Luke Barkley, making his way through Quechua. 3 minutes to go before the window opens. Claude Senhoretti, I think you can anticipate to wait a little bit before he jumps on board the car, because they'll try and use as much of Loris Spinelli as is possible, given his pace. Luke Barkley's had a really, really good first season in car racing, and it's potentially going to get even better over the weekend. He could be an AM champ, I reckon, within the Lamborghini Cup. Within the World Final, as the leaders come down that back straight towards Cavone. The Pro-Am champs in the North American Series. That was done really at the end of qualifying here. Brian Ortiz starts, Brandon Godovic to take over. And that car clear at the moment of Jordan Missig, who is second, and then up from the back of the grid, Mel Johnson, still charging his way into contention for third. Brian Ortiz joining Brandon Godovic this year. They've made a good partnership. That car goes through then. So running in 6th overall, but about 4.5 seconds back on the next car to chase, that of Luke Barkley. Getting a replay here of earlier dramas and people running out over the curb, and you see how those so-called yellow bananas can affect the car. We had a very spectacular and car and driver damaging accident in GT World Challenge. Similar incident there, but Brian Ortiz at a lower speed, getting away with that without quite the damage to man and machine. Richard Antonucci under attack again here from Jacob Eidson. The gap down to half a second once more as they started this 12th lap of the race. In the background, Danny Formal is there, still trying to stay in touch with them, but it looks as though a lot of this might be decided on the pit stops as the leaders then come down towards Caro once again. In the sectors, 4 tenths, 3 tenths, 4 tenths between the top two. Richard Antonucci never being able to pull away, but equally Jacob Eidson never being able to make a proper bid for position. This time I would offer you he's closer than ever, and the gap down to 3 tenths again as they get to the final sector, heading up towards the timing line in a moment. Jacob Eidson with an eye to the clock. The window will be open at the end of this 13th lap, and by the end of that lap the gap had gone up to 7 tenths of a second. So Eidson, having done a really good third sector of the lap, loses out towards the end of it, and it's advantage Antonucci once more as the cars dive down through the right and the left and the right of Park, and then up towards Rio here. Turn 4, another of these multi-apex corners that Misano has. Turn and turn again, and then the road opens up now onto this back straight down towards Quechua. The Misano circuit, just a stone's throw from the Adriatic coast, named in memory of the late Marco Simoncelli, and a busy venue for Italian car racing and for motorbikes. It was a week ago that MotoGP was in town, so it's a circuit getting plenty of use in the autumn. Replay of, in slow motion, how the drivers are working and all the effort being put in there by Jacob Eidson to stay on the back of Richard Antonucci. There's traffic up the road ahead, of course. So the first 20 minutes done, and that means as they get through the traffic that the pit window is now open. Is anybody going to bail out of that leading group at the end of this lap? I would doubt it. I would imagine that Jacob Eidson will carry on for as long as he can, because he's got good pace at the moment and he wants to try and jump ahead of Antonucci. What he wants is Antonucci to pit early, get out of his way, and then he can do qualifying laps and try and build a bit of a gap. But it's the other way round, so he's going to bail first and put into the car Stephen Agakani, possibly thinking that getting out of the traffic might be a good thing. Danny Formal is in as well in the background, look. You see the Americans with their wobbly pit boards to just draw attention to themselves even more as they move around. It catches the driver's eye. Danny Formal stops first. Jacob Eidson is in as well, and he stops on his marks there in 106. Luke Barkley is in, and Brian Ortiz is in the background. Right, out gets Jacob Eidson, in gets Stephen Agakani. So Stephen, who was one of the revelations of the 2019 edition, the last time we had Lamborghini World Finals when we were at Jerez. Little did we know what the world had in store for us. So the driver's strapped in, the netting is strapped into place as well. So this takes the pressure off Richard Antonucci for the moment. It enables him potentially to build up a bit more of a race lead because he's not having to drive defensively. He can now get his head down and pick his own lines once more. Brandon Godovic gets on board 146. Brandon, who was third in Pro last year, but stepping back into Pro-Am this year with Brian Ortiz. And go back a few years, he was a busy late model stock car racer. He raced in the NASCAR scene in ARCA, for example, and has raced in, on occasions, the European NASCAR series as well. So Brandon Godovic is good to go. Out there goes Stephen Agakani. Keeps track position ahead of number 101, but now is Kyle Marcelli, who's replaced Danny Formal. And there is Richard Antonucci, absolutely out on his own, and this is what he wants. Doesn't need to fight anybody, just drive his own lines, dominate the race as best he can. He goes through, and of course now the advantage he's got is a slightly false one because of lots of the opponents peeling into the pit lane. As you can see, some are coming in and some are coming out. And entering the pit lane, Steven McAleer to give way to Jeroen Mul, the quick Dutch driver, who really came to prominence a few years ago in Super Trofeo Europe. Started, if you like, the Dutch interest in Super Trofeo, and has in recent times spent quite a bit of it racing in the States, doing a good job this weekend for Steven McAleer, and hopefully they're not going to have the same issue with that fuel pump. Now, also 122 has just served its pit stop. That means that Dario Capitano has given way now to Edoardo Liberati, and that car back on track. Liberati certainly a man to watch, as Antonucci here thunders on. So Richard, who we first really got to know in Europe when he came to race in Formula Renault and then in British Formula 3. He won the Korean Super Prix in his Formula 3 days, drove to be runner-up at Macau as well, had a spell in A1 GP, and then a few years away from the sport, came back through Grand Am and Indy Lights, and has also raced in the Italian GT Championship, so becoming a very good GT driver, largely in Lamborghinis. Up the curb he goes, and sprinting his way towards the end of the lap. Is he going to pit this time? Yes, he is. So the leader is in. Richard Antonucci gets the stop out of the way. And part of this, of course, is timing the stop right so that it's a relatively quiet pit lane, so you don't lose time being hemmed in by other cars. And off the road on his outlap pretty much has gone Kyle Marcelli. So that car, 101, had only just rejoined the race, and Marcelli has had a drama. He's got going again. Now, was that mechanical or was that a spin that caused it? We'll try and get to the bottom of that. But number 101 back into the race, thankfully, so the road is clear. Richard Antonucci pits and just has to sit there. Tyre pressure's checked. So he was kind of gift-wrapped the lead by Spinelli's problem. But Richard Antonucci's squad just making sure that everything is good with the Dream Racing Motorsport entry before its way back into the race. And Richard with the Italian colours on his helmet, the American driver, nephew of former Grand Prix racer Eddie Cheever, ready to go blasting back out on track. So as the pits cycle through, let's hear from our new, there is 199 Alan Metney in more strife. Let's just go to the pits though, because Marietta is with our new Lamborghini Cup champions. Terry Olsen out of the car, Mark Farmer has taken it over. Marietta.
So first of all, congratulations, Terry, on clinching the Lamborghini Cup in Super Trofeo America.
Thank you very much. We're really pleased to bring the trophy home. It's been a long season, hard-fought season. There are 3 or 4 cars that are very competitive, so we've had great racing all season long, and we've really enjoyed it a lot.
And give us a sense of what it's like to race with Lamborghini at this racetrack here in Misano.
Well, first of all, the car is amazing. The car is so powerful and so well handling. It's just amazing to drive, like nothing I've ever driven before in the States or anywhere else. This track is above and beyond anything that I've ever driven on. The grip here is amazing. The layout is just spectacular. It's well beyond anything we have in the U.S. in terms of track smoothness and grip. Just an incredible, incredible track to drive on.
So exciting as you are making it sound. Thank you very much.
You bet. Thanks.
So Terry Olsen, who has now handed over that car to Mark Farmer, and there in the pit lane, the next one, I think the last one in, is Brad Collins to give way to Michael Manella. So we therefore at the moment, oh no, Ashton Harrison, sorry, that was the one that came into the pit lane. Yes, she just got herself into the lead of the race. The one that's not yet stopped is Loris Spinelli. And Loris therefore is going to inherit the lead back again, only to lose it again when he comes into the pit lane. Ashton Harrison had a puncture on the first lap of race 1, but stayed out to get the points. I'd say stayed out, continued in the race. She didn't drive around on a punctured tyre always. But has been a class winner on occasions this year with 2 to her name. So Ashton Harrison there is Loris Spinelli coming through back into the lead of the race. But for how much longer? Because that car will bail. Randy Solari is behind him on the road, but therefore a lap down. But it's all out of sequence because there the Play Trades car will pit. And the Lamborghini Palm Beach entry will be given over to Claude Senhoretti. Part of the interest is going to be where Loris ends up for the World Final and who snaps him up. He's probably upping his price all through the weekend here because so fast is he. He's very much the man you want in your squad. Loris Spinelli then on track back into the lead, but little good will it do him in terms of the overall situation. Getting a replay here of the move on Randy Solari. Somebody's had a wide moment there. Look at the gravel that's been brought onto the road. And Randy Solari just lets the quicker car go, realising that it just ain't worth the fight there. They're also in different classes, don't forget as well, because Randy Solari is in the AM, and that's a Pro-Am car that Loris Spinelli is driving. So the Italian thunders on. Turns his way now up through the approach to the Caro corner. And then once again towards the end of a lap. And is this going to be a lap that brings him into the pit lane? Yes, it is. So this time he will give the car over to Claudio Sonoretti. And down the pit road then comes Loris Spinelli. Class winners earlier on in the day, but now it's a rather different situation that they encounter with that car having to play catch-up. And in a sense, it was really a late race safety car anyway that brought them into the game in the first encounter of the day. But now it's going to be a rather different story as that car falls down the order. So Loris Spinelli into the pits, and that will now put on the pit stop Stephen Agacani ahead of Richard Antonucci. So we've had a change for the race lead. They pitted on different laps, remember, and Agacani is ahead of Antonucci for the lead of the race now. They've just gone across the line, 1.3 seconds between them. There is Spinelli serving his pit stop. Third now is Jeroen Mul, who has just done a personal best lap, but that is the leading car. 1:06 then. Stephen Agacani has jumped ahead of Richard Antonucci, which is quite a scalp to claim, ahead of the new champion. And then behind is Jeroen Mul. Fourth is Luke Barkley. Fifth is Brandon Godovic. And in sixth place, Ashton Harrison. But I think that's going to be partly a false situation after that recent pit stop, but we'll check. So Stephen Agacani leads the way. And a very good effort that has been. Look at the way that he's up the curb there, trying to shorten the lap and also duck up the inside of the traffic. And in the background, Richard Antonucci nearly 5 seconds up on Jeroen Mul. Into the race has just gone Claude Sonoretti taking over from Loris Spinelli. But right now, Richard Antonucci is up for the fight, isn't he? Let's see what he can do against Stephen Agacani's leading car that is there through the traffic. So what have we got left? 20 minutes. Antonucci on a mission. Gets up the inside of Marc Kwame then, the Lamborghini Cup champion. And we'd also seen dramas for number 101 of Carl Marcelli. Danny Formal is in the pits with Marietta.
Danny, the car that you shared with your teammate had some sort of problem just after you guys swapped. What happened?
Yeah, we worked hard this weekend. That was the closest we've been to the leaders. I gave the car to Kyle. Did a great stop in. We were right there to maybe fight for the win because Richard has one driver, so a 3-second longer pit stop. He had a fuel pressure issue with the car. We're not sure what happened, but yeah, he had to stop on track and we lost one lap. But you know, it's called racing, not winning. So happy with the team. Very grateful to be here in Misano. Awesome that we could travel again across the world with this COVID pandemic. So no, super thankful to Win Taylor Racing, Prestige Performance, and everyone here. Just, yeah, a shame what happened, but you know, it's called racing, and we have 2 more races this weekend, the World Final races, and hopefully we can make some time up there.
Thank you very much.
That's the right attitude, isn't it, Danny Formal? Thinking about the team and grateful to be racing again and travelling. So yeah, fuel pressure problem. That's what caused the car to lose a lap. And so 101 Carl Marcelli at the wheel is in 14th place. Now, the point he's also just made is relevant to what we're seeing now. Because Richard Antonucci as a solo driver takes 3 seconds longer in the pits, that's how Stephen Agacani has been able to jump ahead. And it's also now seeing Antonucci come back at Stephen. The gap down to 0.8 of a second. Richard Antonucci, much the more experienced of the two. This is the man in 4th place, Luke Barkley, who in turn is hustling on, as you can see, and then leading his class, and then behind another class leader, Brandon Godovic, has taken over in 1:46. So there is Barkley heading up towards the end of the lap, going up towards Caro now. Through he turns, and Stephen Agacani is going to lose the lead, I fear, on this lap, because Richard Antonucci was only 1/5 of a second behind when they crossed the line. So there is Barkley up towards the timing line, but for the lead, it's coming down and down and down. Jeroen Mul in 3rd place still, and there 4th is Luke Barkley. 5th is Brandon Godovic, leading in Pro-Am. And it's still Aghakhani in the lead. I'm looking at sector times at the moment, and each time he breaks a sector bead, Stephen Aghakhani's display says lead, so he's still hanging on in there ahead of Richard Antonucci, but it's a close run thing as Brandon Godovic hustles on 5th overall. So down towards turn 7 goes Luke Barkley, Brandon Godovic behind. And the race leaders, nose to tail, are at turn 11, heading now up through, there they are, Curvone. So absolutely together, Richard Antonucci on the back of the leading car. Stephen Aghakhani doing a good job of hanging on to the advantage here, but can he do it for another 17 minutes with Richard Antonucci breathing down his neck? Of course, the car's the same. It's down to the driver, down to the team to get the most out of them, and that makes overtaking sometimes more difficult. You're going to have to work at it, and Richard Antonucci is doing just that, applying the pressure, and a slide comes out of Stephen Aghakhani. Antonucci goes one way, goes the other. Can he make the move on the inside line? Yes, he can. Heading into turn 1, he's done it, he's gone through. Antonucci leads. The champion underlines why he's the champion. He goes by, picks up the advantage, and now Stephen Aghakhani tries to fight back, but I'm not convinced he's going to be able to do that. Richard Antonucci showed intent, didn't he? And he's gone through. We've got Aghakhani's pit stop time under investigation as well. So he's just lost the lead. And on top of that, there could be more drama coming now for the US Racetronics entry of Stephen Aghakhani in second place. The pit stop time under investigation. So the new race leader is Richard Antonucci. This was the end of the move, look, up the curb, but he did it, he committed to it, dived up the inside, and a proper clean pass. Just a little bit of a slide there as he brakes as late as he dares, slide corrected, swoops across the front of Stephen Aghakhani's car, gains the place, gains the race lead. Now, let's see whether or not there's more in the story about this pit stop. Yes, there is a 1 second penalty being applied to Stephen Aghakhani that will be applied at the end of the race. So 106, Stephen Aghakhani will be given a 1.110 second penalty at the end of the race. They were a little bit short on the pit stop, which is another reason, irrespective of the 3 seconds lost by Antonucci for being a soloist, that car was in the lead. A lap ago, I posed the question, can Aghakhani hang on in there for another 17 minutes? The answer clearly is no, but second might be in jeopardy if Jeroen Mul gets on with the programme, and he is, because he's bringing down the gap. He might catch on the road, he might get within striking distance, and then the penalty applied helps him. Anyway, there in the background is the blue car third, Jeroen Mul. He has taken over from Stephen McAleer, and he's hunting down the top 2. So there's confirmation of the penalty for Stephen Aghakhani at the end of the race. Luke Barkley is still doing an absolutely outstanding job in 4th. 5th place, Brandon Godovic. 6th, Ashton Harrison, having a really good run. We didn't see the best out of her in the first race because of the early puncture, but 6th overall is great, although she's being caught by Eduardo Liberati, 7th in 122. 8th is Jordan Missick, 9th is Patrick Liddy, having another good run, and into the top 10 after all their travails. Loris Spinelli has given the car over 151 to Claude Senhoretti now, and Senhoretti is catching up to the back of Patrick Liddy as best he can, slightly quicker last time around. So we have there, going through the race leader, Richard Antonucci. He's on lap 22. We had 28 in the first race, although a couple of safety car periods affected that, and the second one was quite a long one as they had to retrieve the car of Dario Capitanio. There up towards the line goes Claude Senhoretti. Teams watching on the pit wall, looking at the data, looking at the tracking map, seeing where the cars are and what traffic might be up the road, and if they need to warn drivers of hazards ahead, like lots of slow cars, they can do so over the radio. The leader has gone through, and now a second and a half to the good is Antonucci over Aghakhani, but Aghakhani to Mul is 1.4 seconds. So that means that second is very much in jeopardy now, because Jeroen Mul is nearly with Stephen Aghakhani, and the closer he gets, the more the penalty is going to help him, because even if he can't overtake, the corrected times will vault him ahead. They've just lapped John Hennessy. There he is, the Lamborghini Cup leader. So John Hennessy, again, doing a very good job and hanging on to the class lead, looking as though this is going to be not only a 2nd of the day, but a 5th of the season for him, because he's quite a long way up the road now, ahead of Mark Farmer, the driver that was crown champion with Terry Olsen, his co-driver earlier on in the day. John Hennessy lets the traffic get past him. Accelerating now on up to the Tramonto corner at the top of the lap. Out of Tramonto and then down towards Carboni. Richard Antonucci, though, is making life look pretty easy up front. Rattles it wide over the curb. Slows it down for Caro, and then on now to the run up towards Curva Misano through turn 15, the left-hander, and then the sharp left. Curva Misano up towards the timing line. So through goes Richard Antonucci. Accelerates down towards the first corner into the Parco sequence, the right, left, right. 1.9 seconds, the margin that he's got. Stephen Agacani running second, and Jeroen Mul is getting closer to him all the time. It's 1.2 seconds now between them, and that's almost enough to reverse the places with the penalty. Mul wants to do it on track, and in fact, Jeroen is not lapping too far off the pace of Richard Antonucci here. 11 more minutes of this penultimate round of the championship still to go. Sorry, last round of the championship, forgive me, penultimate race of the day, but the last round of the championship. Replay here of Antonucci going a little bit wide and finding those yellow bananas behind the curbs, but it's running behind the curbs that can sometimes slice the tyres, and that's possibly what was causing all the issues earlier on in the day. Fastest lap of the race, by the way, Loris Spinelli from earlier on, so it still looks like he's going to add to the impressive run of fastest laps in every race of the day thus far. John Hennessy there in slow-mo, and the very classy colours, the blue and gold, and 108 Patrick Liddy at the wheel now, having taken over from Mel Johnson as that car also tries to get up through the field. Up to the line comes Antonucci, just put another lap on number 103 of Randy Solari, who is currently third in the Am Cup there in the green and white car going through. Second and third, Agacani to Mul, 1.2 seconds. So actually, Jeroen hasn't caught much over the course of that lap, but the familiar Bud Light colours that used to adorn Jaguars in IMSA racing, amongst other things, carried here in the third-placed car. And in the traffic now, look, Stephen Agacani is being slightly impeded because he's got himself caught, and that means that this throws another lifeline at Jeroen Mul, because some of the hard work of catching can be done by the pace of Agacani's car being affected. Now he goes to the inside and gets through the slower traffic. Through on the inside line, job done. It's Randy Solari, the back marker, and Jeroen Mul with a flick of the paddle shift gears, lines up to make his move now, going up towards Tramonto, and he goes by on the inside line. So Jeroen Mul is now 6/10 back, so it's halved in the space of the first 2/3 of the lap here. So Jeroen Mul is going nicely, and he's a little bit nearer to Stephen Agacani. Is he close enough to attack at the end of the lap? No, he is not, but under braking here, look, there's another length or two pull back, so Jeroen Mul really is hustling on, and he's brought the gap down yet further up towards Caro. Out of turn 15, up towards the end of the lap, down to third. Speed building all the time, grab fourth gear. The lights say change up, and he does, up to fifth. And then down towards Parco, the start of the lap. Right, left, right, patient with the throttle so it doesn't run out wide. Short straight up towards Rio, turns 4 and 5. And the gap at the end of the lap was 0.6 of a second, so Mul little by little catching up. Rattles over the curb, coming out of turn 6. There is Claude Senhoretti now, running in 10th place, and through the traffic dives Richard Antonucci, 3 seconds clear. But if he can hang on here for a magnificent 7th win of the year, then it really would put him as the favourite for the World Final tomorrow, wouldn't it? Because I would offer you that he's got better speed than some of the Europeans right now. Stuck in the traffic a little bit as he tries to get past Senhoretti. but has now done so. Or has he? He's on the outside line coming down towards Curvoni, and no, Sonoretti is in no mood to let him by, so he's hanging on to the place, and that's going to delay Antonucci a little bit as Agakani comes through, still being pursued vigorously by Jeroen Mul. So Richard Antonucci has found himself in a rather unwanted fight, and now look, Agakani has been caught by Mul, and he's got two back markers up the road he's going to have to negotiate, so it's all getting a bit leery for him. Through there goes Claude Sonoretti. Victor Gomez is behind. Now remember that he's 6 laps adrift after problems on the green flag lap, and that meant that he had to start the race late from the pit lane. Agakani goes through, and the gap that he's got over Mul is half a second, and the lead gap has come down by over a second because of the way that Richard Antonucci here was delayed in the traffic last time around. So Gomez there gets the message, lets Agakani go, lets Mul go. Agakani to the inside of Sonoretti, Mul up the curb, sideways, correction, through turn 6 there. Rattles around the outside of Sonoretti over the curb, and I think he's not got past Sonoretti because there he is, look, back on the inside. Claude Sonoretti is driving his own race, yes, but he's not being overly cooperative to the traffic, is he? So Mul is delayed in all of that, goes around the outside of him. Eventually he does go through, and others follow suit, but Claude Sonoretti seemed to want to play there. Victor Gomez has put a lap on him as well. So eventually Sonoretti falls back in the pack, but for a moment or two he seemed to want to take the fight to the leading cars, and what that has done is given Agakani a much bigger advantage once again. So it's gone up from 3/10 to over a second. So Jeroen Mul put off line, and it's cost him some time as well in the fight raging on here. Five minutes and change on the clock. Loris Spinelli, fastest lap of the race. His car now runs in 11th as through the traffic here charges the Prestige entry in the hands of Cal Marcelli. Marcelli is another one trying to fight back into the top 10 now after his earlier delays. But as the leader, Richard Antonucci, goes through, he's on his own again now, 3.1 seconds. There's a nice battle developing for second in Lamborghini Cup, where Michael Manella is being given a slightly tougher time now by Mark Kvamu because they've got themselves together almost. There is Antonucci, 5 more minutes on the clock. We're on lap 28 now, and off the road there, look, is 104, Michael Manella. So having just said that there was a battle developing, not anymore there isn't, because he's had a spin, and a little bit of smoke and vapour coming out of the back of the car as Michael Manella tries to get it fired up once more. Now, how did he get there? Let's see if we can find out. Gets it on the curb on the inside and loses it. And that just looked like driver error, didn't it? Might have been a mechanical drama that pitched him into the spin, but the Lamborghini Miami car goes around. All the tyres are inflated, so can't blame it on rubber, like 1 or 2 people were in the earlier race after punctures caused them to spin. And now we need to see whether Manella has got going again and whether that car is off the road for good. I think it's just rejoining in the background as Antonucci comes by here. 4 minutes to go. Seemingly it is going to be another win for Richard Antonucci. And in the background you saw Alan Metney's car parked on the grass. Richard Antonucci will come through, and as he breaks the beam now, that's with 3 minutes and 52 seconds to go, and a flying lap is a 1:35 at the moment. So I would offer you 3 more laps in this. There's the battle for second place. The gap is down again to 4/10, but can Jeroen Mul do anything about Stephen Agakani? The answer is he's going to have a red-hot go because that gap is down again, and Jeroen Mul hustles on. It was on this section of the circuit in the opening race where the fuel pump failed and the car ground to a halt. Right now, it is 4/10 back from Stephen Agakani's car, in which Jacob Eidson did such an impressive job earlier on in the race. There's also the battle, of course, for the runners-up spot within the Pro Championship. Stephen Agakani and Jacob Eidson benefiting from the non-score of Stephen McAleer in the earlier race. McAleer and Mul haven't done the whole season together, so they sit on a different points tally. But Stephen Agakani repelling the challenge here as he accelerates down towards Rasalinho. foot nailed to the boards all the time. Now slow the car down going through Caro. Turn right again, and a bit of a wobble there from Agakani's car. So that just brings slightly closer to him, the hard-charging Jeroen Mul, but not close enough to make a move against him. Now down towards the curve of Misano they come. This is turn 16, up towards the end of the lap now. Through they turn. And the margin at the end of the lap down half a second once again. There's time for this lap and one more, so 2 to run. And Jeroen Mul perhaps running out of ideas. The traffic has helped him a little. The traffic has helped Agakani a little, depending on where they catch the traffic, really. Come out of turn 3 there, up towards that double apex right of Rio. Turn right again. It's a similar corner at the top of the lap, turns 9 and 10, where you turn right and then loop right at Tramonto. The Tramonto right-hander is where they will turn shortly, because there's a little kink on the straight that constitutes turn 7. Turn 8 is here, and it's Quechia. You feel as though the road should climb up a hill here, but it doesn't. There's an ever so slight rise, slight crest, and then up towards the right-hand kink that takes you to the right-hand corner of Tramonto. Jeroen Mul riding the curve. Behind him, illustrating the pace that he's got, Kyle Marcelli. But Stephen Agakani, the bespectacled American driver, keeping Jeroen Mul at bay. There is the Dutch driver. Incredibly tall Dutch driver is Jeroen Mul, and he is the man hustling on in pursuit of the second-placed car of Stephen Agakani. It's America versus Holland for second, and they are still in that order, and try as he might, Jeroen Mul just can't quite get close enough to mount an attack, and he's going to have to think of something pretty drastic now, because they're about to start the last lap as they come through. Over the timing line has just gone Richard Antonucci. Last lap of the race then. They're second and third. Stephen Agakani and Jeroen Mul, if anything, it is Kyle Marcelli behind them, showing his pace, because he is, in fact, lapping quicker than the 2 ahead of him. He's inching up onto the tail. Richard Antonucci looking oh so strong up front, though, here. A little bit wide up the curve goes Jeroen Mul, so he was good under braking, seemingly got closer. But then the car washes out ever so slightly wide and just loses a fraction of that time that he'd worked so hard to claw back. This is the run down towards Quechia at turn 8. And off the road has gone Luke Barkley briefly. That's coming onto the pit straight. He's got away with it. Luke Barkley, though, with a little mistake. I don't think it's going to cost him too much, or has it? Yes, it has, because Ashton Harrison has got ahead in the AM battle. So Ashton Harrison goes through, starting the last lap of the race. And it was a spin for Luke Barkley that has really bitten him. So Ashton Harrison for Wayne Taylor Racing goes through, and she's in the lead of the AM class starting the last lap. So after a really bad start to the day with a puncture on lap 1 of race 1, it's going to end well with a win, seemingly. Whether Luke Barkley can fight back, we will find out. As here for second place, Stephen Agakani looks as though he has done enough to hang on to the position. To the checkered flag will come Richard Antonucci here. And it's going to be the absolute perfect way to round out the Lamborghini Super Trofeo North America with win number 7 for Richard Antonucci. Checkered flag flies. Richard Antonucci wins, second across the line. Stephen Agakani just fending off Jeroen Mul right to the very end of the race. Fourth should be the Pro-Am champion, Brandon Godovic. Disappointed not to win Pro-Am in race 1, but they're going to win it in race 2, he and Brian Ortiz, because they are well clear of everybody else in the category. So fourth is going to be Brandon Godovic. And a word about who is fifth, because Eduardo Liberati, that car that started from the pit lane after its travails in race 1, is going to be in 5th spot overall, and that is a mighty effort. So Brandon Godovic wins in Pro-Am, second in Pro-Am Jordan Missig, and third should be Patrick Liddy and Mel Johnson up from the back of the grid, which is another good effort for sure. We've already had... the AM winner is home, and it's shown as Luke Barkley. So Ashton Harrison had a moment on the last lap, because her last lap was a 1:42, so she's had a moment somewhere. Ashton Harrison, having got the lead of the class on the last lap, has had an off somewhere, or had a moment, and fallen back to second. So Luke Barkley does win it. Third in the class, Randy Solari. What about Lamborghini Cup? Is that any calmer? It has been won again by John Hennessy from Mark Farmer and Terry Olsen, and third John Hirschberg, but we need to see if there's any evidence in the system of what happened to Ashton Harrison. But well done, Richard Antonucci. Win number 7 of the season. Richard Antonucci's winning margin, 3.6 seconds at flagfall. So as I say, Richard Antonucci does it again. That is win number 7 for him. Brandon Godovic and Brian Ortiz, that's win number 6 in Pro-Am. In the Am Cup for Luke Barkley, win number 5 for the champion. And for John Hennessy in Lamborghini Cup, a 5th victory there as well. Riders making their way to the pit lane, Null there. Everybody going offline to help with the pickup for the weight and the ride height of the car. So they're looking down onto that last corner. Cars make their way into the pit lane. And for the American teams, the work for the day at least is finished. There'll be a bit of prep ready for tomorrow's early start for the World Final competition. But we will look forward to seeing how, when you put the different championships together for the World Final itself, who comes out on top. And we understand that there is a 5-second penalty being given to Luke Barkley for contact with Ashton Harrison. So that partly explains the story as why she lost the class lead. Now, the gap between them was around about 3 seconds. That could, provisionally, reverse the class lead. The results on my timing screen are currently updating, so bear with, as they say. But there's a penalty for Luke Barkley. And does that do anything? It's not changed the result, I have to say. It still maintains the order. In the meantime, Richard Antonucci celebrates with the team. Another excellent job done here at Misano. Great day that he's having with 2 wins and putting himself as one of the favourites for the Lamborghini World Final tomorrow. So Richard Antonucci, helmet off. Celebrates with the team, and Richard Antonucci is there, and probably the only person not having a hug at the moment. In the background you can see Marietta. It's all yours.
Richard, you are smashing it today.
Yes, I'm glad the day's over because I have very little energy left. I'm not a young driver anymore. No, jokes aside, excellent season, excellent end of season. The way we started, we finished, super happy, so grateful for the Bitbull Dream Racing car, supported by Antonelli Motorsports this weekend. Incredible. We made some aggressive changes to try. You know, this is the last chance for the World Finals, having the points already out of the way. I would say we can only go better, performance-wise, but to win like this team is so strong, and I'm so grateful to be part of it. Thank you, guys.
Congratulations. Thank you very much.
Richard Antonucci congratulates the Antonelli Motorsport team that are helping operate the car this weekend. And we have had a change to the result of the Am Cup. So Ashton Harrison does get the win ahead of Luke Barkley and third Randy Solari. So the penalty applied does change the result. And that means that for Ashton Harrison, it is a 3rd victory of the season. We haven't seen the contact. We're trying to find whether there's any footage of it that we can offer you to show what happened between the two of them. But clearly a rather frustrated Luke Barkley caught and elbowed his way by on the last lap, and the penalty has redressed the balance. So Ashton Harrison takes the win in the Am competition. So drivers there. Brandon Godovic leaning on the car, looking pretty hot and bothered. It's been a feisty race. Richard Antonucci joking and saying he's not a young driver anymore. Well, he might not be, but he's still very, very quick indeed. He's after a glass of water, which nobody seems to have for him at the moment. But let's hear from more of our category victors. Let's rejoin Marietta.
Ashton, congratulations. You did manage to win in your category, but tell us what happened in the last lap.
So unfortunately, well, I say fortunately on my behalf, but unfortunately for him, he did have a spin at the end, the last lap, and I got around him, and then we had some contact going into the next corner, but it was the last lap. It's unfortunate for him because I've been in that situation before as well, but we'll take a win as we can receive it. I'm so thankful to be here and all my family at Harrison Contracting, my family at home watching, and it's a comeback from the first race, so I'm thrilled for my team.
Yeah, I was going to say that a victory is a great way to put an end to the day after the drama in race one. Tell us what happened then.
So in that race, actually, we were taken out by a different competitor. So the competition's really tight here. And for us to be able to come back from heavy damage we took in the left rear and to manage a car like this the whole race, it was great. And I'm glad to come back. I mean, every time we come to Worlds, we have an exciting adventure. So I'm glad to top it off with a win.
Congratulations and good luck for the World Finals.
I appreciate it.
So Ashton Harrison, the winner, not on the road, but with the penalty applied. So a win is a win is a win. And congratulations to Ashton Harrison, a third victory of the season. So good job done by the Wayne Taylor Racing team. And the drivers now will make their way to the podium. There's one more race still to come here at Misano this afternoon. That's the last round of the European Championship. And there, drivers get themselves sorted and ready for, as I say, the podium ceremony. And let's hear from second place drivers in the race, Stephen McAleer and Jeroen Mul.
Stephen, it's good to see you are finally smiling to me now.
I was smiling earlier, and then we went downhill as soon as you left. So, you know, great job from Jeroen there. We basically the results here, we had to finish ahead of the 106 car, and we've been fighting with these guys all year. Stephen and Jacob did a great job, super fast, but you know, Jeroen was able to chase them down, and they made a little mistake in the pits and got a time penalty. And when we told Jeroen that, he knew he had to be within a certain distance. And again, I know he was trying hard there. We have some work to do to attack the World Finals tomorrow. But yeah, second in the championship, and really exciting end to the day.
And Jeroen, those last laps were very, very exciting. How was it like for you trying to keep the pressure on Stephen Agakani? Sorry.
It's a hard name. Yeah, I mean, first of all, great job to the team also fixing the car in time after our technical difficulties in race one. And I have to say, Corey Lewis, our resident Super Trofeo champion, basically was coaching me all along the way, keeping me informed on the gap and whatever I needed to do. And for me, it was just a job of staying as close as possible and driving my heart out. And I did my best doing that. Luckily, through the traffic and everything, we managed to get through clean and stay close enough to take profit of the penalty that the 106 car got, and bring this boy the second place in the championship.
Thank you very much. Well done, guys.
Thank you.
Stephen McAleer, championship runner-up, race runner-up, helped with the penalty. Let's have a look at the results of that race then, and it sees Richard Antonucci as the winner from Stephen McAleer and Jeroen Mul, jumping ahead with the time penalty of Stephen Agakani and Jacob Eidson. Fourth to win Pro-Am, Brandon Godovic and Brian Ortiz. From the pit lane, Dario Capitanio and Eduardo Liberati. Jordan Missig sixth, Ashton Harrison with a time penalty giving her the class win, seventh overall ahead of Luke Barkley. Then Patrick Liddy and Mel Johnson with Carl Marcelli and Danny Formal in 10th. 11th, Loris Spinelli and Claude Senhoretti after early problems. Randy Solari 12th. John Hennessy 13th to win Lamborghini Cup from the champions Terry Olsen and Mark Farmer. And then John Hirschberg next with Michael Manella and Bart Collins. A couple of laps down after their spin. We lost Victor Gomez effectively when the race started. He spent so much time in the pit lane, and a retirement not getting to the end at all. Alan Metney. Bad day for him because he retired from race one on the first lap as well. So the American Championship is done, but the drivers' work is not done. They will be back on track tomorrow for the World Final itself. Always an exciting competition. And as the trophies await, now the drivers make their way to the podium. Bronze trophies for third, silver for second, gold for the winners. Last time we had Lamborghini Cup first. We'll see what the organisers choose to do this time around. But the teams in the pit lane are ready. Family in the pit lane are ready. And the drivers, masks on in some cases, are there ready as well. Maurizio Reggiani there with the moustache that he's growing for November. All the cars this weekend carrying the little moustaches on the wing mirrors, and Lamborghini supporting November. And the grey jumper Chris Ward, who coordinates the North American motorsport activity for Lamborghini.
We will go to everyone in a different dealership. I will be an Olympic starting.
Maurizio Reggiani chatting to Richard Antonucci as the race winner, but they'll be on the top step of the podium very shortly indeed. Maurizio, the Chief Technical Officer of Lamborghini, looking very distinguished with his new moustache.
It actually suits you.
Yeah. No, it does.
My daughter says, Papa, you are like a mafioso.
Maybe that's why it suits you.
So everybody is ready, and as soon as we have the indication, then everybody will be brought forward. We'll see which class we're going to start with. As I say, it was Lamborghini Cup last time, but it might be that we go in the opposite order, start with the pros. We'll find out in a moment or two. The cars going down the pit lane, those that are here to do passenger laps, VIP laps. Misano is almost overrun with Lamborghinis because in the paddock there's a special auto test slalom area. The likes of British GT racer Sandy Mitchell doing some of the driving there as an example. And Sandy, in fact, somebody that last time we had a World Final was busy in the American Championship, where he'd been spending some time successfully racing that year as well, and also nearly won the World Final himself. Right, there the teams are ready. I think we're almost ready for the podium as well. The rest of the cars sit in the Parc Ferme area, that technical scrutineering label on them saying that they can't be touched until the scrutineers have released them, so the teams have to wait. But on the podium, activity is about to get underway, I think. Richard Antonucci is there, Giorgio Sanarek is there. So where do we start? Do we go with the pros or do we go with the Lamborghini Cup? We're going to go with the Lamborghini Cup as the preference this time. So that means that for third place in the class is going to be John Hirschberg, who steps forward. For second place for the PPM Precision Performance Motorsports team, Terry Olsen and Mark Kame. Second of the day, but they've already won the championship, so they'll be happy with the result. Out they come, ready to stand on the podium. And a second win of the day and a fifth of the season for the class winner in the Lamborghini Cup, the US Racetronics entry, John Hennessy. John Hennessy it is then that fist bumps his rivals on the podium to say well done. And the trophies await, and there should also be the Pirelli trophy for the winner as well. Maurizio Reggiani hands over the trophy to the third place driver, to John Hirschberg. And second goes the way of Terry Olsen and Mark Kvarme, but John Hennessy has had a day of days, hasn't he, with another win. And there is the Pirelli trophy to hand over as well. Ferruccio Pavesi from Pirelli does the honours. And there are the teams in the pit lane, ready to cheer on their driver, depending on which class the car is in. Well done, John Hennessy. 5 victories over the course of the season is not bad at all. And 2 of them have come today alone. It's a pretty busy timetable for the drivers. Potential of 4 races, and it's all with all the track time with free practice and then qualifying and racing. It's all crammed in. But you know, you've been at a race meeting when you've been to the World Finals, that's for sure. And John Hennessy will not care one bit because 2 wins on a Friday, good going. John Hennessy, the class winner. Terry Olsen and Mark Kvarme second, and John Hirschberg taking third. From Lamborghini Cup, then on to the AM category next. And that will come for Wayne Taylor Racing. Randy Solari in third place. One of the many soloists that the American Championship seems to have, whereas in Europe, soloists are quite rare. Second has already gone to a slightly frustrated Luke Barclay, I suspect, for Dream Racing Motorsport with that penalty. But Ashton Harrison gets a great reception as she comes to the podium and takes the win, her third of the season. So well done to there, Ashton Harrison, victorious. And as the trophies are now going to be presented, well done, Randy Solari. He takes third. Then at the other end of the podium, it's IMSA President John Doonan, who's come to do the honours. Because in America, the Super Trofeo North America runs as part of the IMSA package. There for second place, Luke Barclay, who shrugs and feels a bit aggrieved. And Ashton Harrison is a very happy victor. She takes a third win of the season for the Wayne Taylor Racing team. And there'll be the Pirelli trophy as well that Ferruccio Pavesi can hand over to. Well done, Ashton. Excellent job done. And they all huddle together for photographs. The one that's not really smiling too much, but he has won the championship, Luke Barclay, for second place, but the penalty dropping him down one spot and reversing, if you like, the order. It was Ashton Harrison ahead. I said on that last lap something had happened. Well, we haven't seen what, but we know what. Something between her and Luke Barclay to give a time penalty to Luke, to give Ashton confirmation of the class win. And so with the day done, champagne sprayed. Ashton's got that down to a fine art. And I think so much champagne came out of the bottle, there's barely any to get down the neck of Luke Barclay. But Ashton Harrison celebrates in style. Tremendous effort. And Ashton Harrison, Luke Barclay, and Randy Solari, the top three in AM. Pro-Am beckons. And there, as the podium is made ready, third place will go to Mel Johnson and Patrick Liddy, having started from the back of the grid in the repaired car as Ashton Harrison. The Harrison Contracting Company sponsorship from the family firm adorning the side of the car. So, onto the podium then comes Mel Johnson with Patrick Liddy for third place. For second place, we will have Jordan Missig. And then for a race win in Pro-Am, they've already taken the championship, and it's now win number 6, Brandon Godovic and Brian Ortiz. Brandon Godovic is somebody that we are used to seeing on podiums at the World Final weekend, and he's done it again here. So Brandon Godovic and Brian Ortiz made a good combination this year. They won the Pro-Am Championship in the first race. They've won the race in the second without having to think about points. The trophies there from John Doonan go first of all to Mel Johnson and Patrick Liddy, then to the far end of the podium, Jordan Missig, and now to the winners, to Brian Ortiz and Brandon Godovic. What better way to round out the championship year than with another win? Ferruccio Pavesi jumps forward with the Pirelli trophy. So well done to Brandon Godovic and to Brian Ortiz, who will now, with everybody else, huddle together on the podium for the photographs. 6 wins out of 12. It's half the season claimed by Brandon and Brian. Tremendous effort for them both. The champagne is ready, and Pro-Am, Brandon Godovic, Brian Ortiz the winners, Jordan Missig second, and Mel Johnson and Patrick Liddy in their spare car third. Despite the fact the power steering failed in race 1, it's been a pretty tumultuous weekend for the US Racetronics team, trying to keep them on track, and at least this time around it's a success, and it's a podium result as well. So that leaves us with one more podium to go, and the drivers for it will make their way very shortly onto the 3 steps. It's going to be the Pro, and of course this is another category that has been slightly affected insofar as a time penalty also for the pit stop, giving Stephen Agakani third with Jacob Eidson rather than the second, which is what they were anticipating. But with the time penalty for being short on the pit stop applied, so that car drops down the order. So there for third place are Jacob Eidson and Stephen Agakani. who stares at the floor, frustrated with that penalty dropping them a place. For second position, though, Jeroen Mul, and for second in the championship as well, Stephen McAleer. But then up to the top step of the podium at the end of another great drive to round out a great season is now 7 times a winner and the champion. Richard Antonucci is victorious in the final round of Lamborghini Super Trofeo North America. And for the Dream Racing Motorsport squad to dominate the season the way he has, with victories in more than half the races, is very impressive indeed. And Richard Antonucci is race winner and champion. Richard Antonucci, race winner, championship winner. Is he going to be a world final winner come Sunday afternoon? Very possibly, given the pace that he's had today. The trophies are presented by the Chief Technical Officer of Automobili Lamborghini, and that is Maurizio Reggiani. First to Stephen Agacani and Jacob Eidson, then to Stephen McAleer and Jeroen Mul, and then it will be to the winner, to the champion, to the standout driver of the day, to Richard Antonucci. Well done, Richard Antonucci, says Maurizio Reggiani, who congratulates him, and Richard dedicates that to the team. So, complimenting Richard Antonucci, victorious in this last round of Super Trofeo North America. There's yet another trophy to add to a good day's haul. The Pirelli Motorsport Trophy is given to him as well. Drivers get together for the last photographs. Another great season of racing in Lamborghini Super Trofeo North America. And at the end of it, Richard Antonucci comes out in the pro category with more wins than anybody and with the championship. In the race, Richard Antonucci, the winner from Stephen McAleer and Jeroen Mul, Stephen Agacani and Jacob Eidson take third. And the champagne is about to be liberally sprayed by a very happy champion, Richard Antonucci. Solo effort it has been, driving on his own, but the result has been unstoppable. Richard Antonucci then the champion, and this a chance to have a look at just how precise he was, running the car over the curb, not abusing them too much, keeping the right side of the track limit warnings, and an excellent drive by Richard Antonucci to win the last race of the North American season. Well, final beckons for him. Richard Antonucci then wins in pro from Stephen Agacani and Jacob Eidson, with Stephen McAleer in third, not what we were being told post-race on the interviews. Danny Formal and Carl Marcelli come next ahead of an absent Alec Udell, Jeroen Mul, Max Weering, who didn't do the second race, and Sergio Jimenez round out pro. But the Misano circuit has certainly delivered good racing this weekend. It's also delivered another championship for Brandon Godovic and Brian Ortiz in Pro-Am, ahead of Victor Gomez and then Jordan Missig, with Claude Senoretti and Loris Spinelli taking fourth. And Dario Capitano was in Pro-Am, but of course this weekend has graduated, if you like, to Pro, with the inclusion of Eduardo Liberati. As far as the Am contest is concerned, Luke Barkley has been the driver to beat there, winning it from Ashton Harrison, and Alan Metney's had a rotten day, so hopefully it'll get better tomorrow for him in the World Final. He's third ahead of Randy Solari, and then you can see a number of the drivers that have raced in the championship this year but were unable to come to Italy for these last rounds. And there's also, of course, Lamborghini Cup that should not be ignored either. And that has delivered honours for Mark Kvarme and Terry Olsen. Matt Dickin, another one that wasn't able to be here. Bart Collins and Michael Manella taking third. And John Hennessy was only 6 points back. His double victory here really helping him within the title race. So that's it from the North American Series. The stream will continue shortly with the last round of the European Championship. We are about 45 minutes or so away from the cars leaving the grid for that. So we'll look forward to your company a little bit later on. For now, though, from Marietta Evans and David Addison, it's goodbye from Misano.
Ladies and